who is going to be the Joe Rogan of the left, you're not going to believe me. And you're going to want to disagree with me right off the bat when I tell you his name. And you're going to say, whoa, Waldo, no, that's gone too far. But it is actually, not joking, not kidding, Hunter Biden. Flame me if you want. We're going to watch the Hunter Biden interview. And I'm going to tell you that he could be an amazing force for the side of good. He really could. I took some notes. I watched this whole thing. That is Mr. Callahan. He is a very cool cat. He is in the running, but he's second place to me for HSWP. The guy on the left is Andrew Callahan. He is, at least I think his name is Andrew. He runs Channel 5 with Andrew Callahan. Yeah. It's right there. You should watch his stuff. He's very good at what he does. He interviews people and stuff like that. So he might be the Joe Rogan of the left, but he interviewed his own replacement. He interviewed Hunter Biden. This is the number 2 most important person on the left interviewing the number 1 most important person on the left. Let's hear what they have to say. So we're not going to watch the whole thing because then I would get copyright striked. But you should go to Channel 5 with Andrew Callahan and watch this entire thing. It's 3 hours and 16 minutes. I watched all of it. Okay. It's very long. It's very good. You know who else talks into a camera for 3 hours a time? Joe Rogan. On to something here. Okay. Let's hear what he has to say. So I have some timestamps. I wrote them down. I took notes.
You know, I haven't read all of the book, but people give me little synopses of like this guy, Alex Thompson, who no reason anybody would know who the hell Alex Thompson is. He has this...
Nobody would ever know who Alex Thompson is. Fuck you, Alex Thompson.
This whole thing I understand in which he says like the Bidens covered up those cancer diagnoses. And I feel like saying, what the fuck are you talking about, man? You get a terminal diagnosis, okay? What do? Do you accept it, go home and die? Or do you say, I'm not dying, I'm gonna be part of that 2%. I sit down.
He's popping off at his, the guy who wrote a mean book about him and his family. So then we're gonna jump ahead to 103, when he starts popping off with the woke ass history.
Hold on to that. Because it still makes a lie. I don't believe in conspiracy theories in the sense of I don't believe that the government has the capacity to carry out a conspiracy, you know, a secret plan. It's all in the open, man. There's no conspiracy behind what ICE agents are doing in the streets of Los Angeles, you know, right now, or by the...
He's right. There's no conspiracy. They're doing it right there where you can see it.
Way in the streets of Detroit or Chicago or Philadelphia or Tampa or whatever the hell they are, is that they're openly terrorizing people for the purpose of scaring the shit out of them. You know, people look at this moment in time and they get this impression. I used to think it was hyperbole. I'm not so sure now. And the comparisons to 1930s and 1939 and 1932 and...
He's talking about me comparing what's happening now to Nazis, but he's going to disagree with me slightly.
Crystal Knock, and this is the time, and are we before this, are we after this? And you know, I look at what we're going through right now as more associated with a moment in our own history, which was Reconstruction.
You're talking about, for reference, after the Civil War.
Yes, from 1865 to 1877. What people don't understand about Reconstruction is that we just fought the Civil War. All of the freedoms which the Constitution guaranteed was guaranteed for black citizens that had just...
Woke. Giving black people rights.
Been released from slavery. And people think there was this great migration, it all fell apart. The black population, because of the weight of slavery or whatever other excuse you want to make, kind of fell into this communities of poverty and disenfranchisement and blah, 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 blah. Total bullshit. Yeah. Between 1865 and 1877, the South Carolina state legislature was a majority.
It's mostly black people, you know? They were doing well after the Civil War.
Black.
I was going to say the state senate that was, I think at the time based in Charleston, was almost all black.
Yeah, all black. And on top of that, because by the way, it's a vast majority African-American state after the Civil War in South Carolina. You know, and by the way, which was where the first slaves were delivered in the 1600s, right there in Charleston. And so what happened after the Civil War? This amazing thing, this amazing renaissance, these people that jumped in, that had been in slavery for over 200 years. These communities are thriving. And then you have in, what was it, Colfax, Louisiana.
Is that where the first Klan started?
Not where the first Klan started, but the first major lynching occurred in the sense of this, is that you had in Colfax, Louisiana, you had black lawmakers that had gone in to secure the vote in this little town in the courthouse. And white supremacists surrounded the courthouse and they rolled up a cannon and they said, we're going to kill all of you unless you come out and give up.
See, he's doing the Joe Rogan thing. You guys are enthralled by this. Oh my. I love listening to this. So, so he's popping off with the woke ass history. Then at 118, he starts talking about Steve Bannon. And I thought that was a good one, good bit we should listen to.
You have Steve Bannon. If you want to understand what the intellectual direction of what we'll call it the MAGA movement is, just listen to Steve Bannon. He spells it out. He says flat out. He says that he's going to bring the war that they've known for a long time, that if the war for the United States of America is going to be won on the streets of Los Angeles. Steve Bannon flat out said that, you know what we're going to do? Before the election was even over, he said that we're going to contest the election. We're going to say that the mail-in ballots were fraudulent, and we're going to contest the election, and we're going to go as far as we can, and we're going to break the institution as much as we possibly can.
Almost 100% believe strongly that the 2020 election was stolen. And
They believe that, Steve Bannon, because you told them ahead of time. Steve Bannon is a terrible piece of shit, and Hunter's right here. This is correct. This is actually looking at what's happening and not analyzing it and recognizing what's going on. Steve Bannon, if Trump loses, he will tell you that it was rigged. He told you ahead of time, he told you beforehand that it was going to be rigged. And then when he lost, he said it was rigged. All these people believe it was rigged because you told them that, Steve. You told them that it was.
not going to allow this to be stolen in the canvassing room.
And we'll break the courts, and we will break Congress, and we will break the Constitution.
It's exactly what's happening right now. Hunter's on fire, y'all. He's great. Look at this guy. Then at 128, we get about the laptop. Boop, 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 bow, doo, 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 doo. Let's go over to 128 for the laptop.
That they're talking about. Do you know?
Well, I know that you your entire iCloud was connected to it. All of your personal text messages, private photos, all that kind of stuff.
Like everybody's laptop.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
so,
you left it with a repair shop owner who, for some reason,
Tell me this motherfucker is trustworthy. Boss, if that guy on screen right now tells you anything about politics, are you going to believe it? Are you going to listen to that guy? I'm ugly. I get it. But that motherfucker, look at that fucking guy.
gave it to Rudy Giuliani. Not exactly sure how that's legal. He distributed it to the press, particularly I think the New York Post was involved in the spearheading of this mass dissemination of your private materials. From what it seemed like, it was a lot of private text between you and your friends, family. Your entire sort of private life was on there.
Yeah. And again, so everybody has a laptop. Everybody has a
Well,
cloud.
I'm assuming not.
No, not everybody has a laptop. Everybody has a digital life. Almost everybody has a digital life. Everybody has a digital life, pretty much. And that includes voicemails and pictures and text messages and...
Skipping to the
the
important part.
person who offered those allegations for falsifying his testimony to the FBI.
For over a 10-year period of time, I worked with a group of people that had a cross-border private equity firm inside of China, and I had a business that was based around advisory for multinational global funds, private equity funds, doing infrastructure work and others. And I was asked to join a fund, a startup inside of China that was had a headquarters in Beijing, Shanghai, Hong Kong, and New York. And I had a 10% equity stake in that, of which I paid.
I thought he was going to talk about the
I made
investigations. I might have done bad
my
on the
equity
timing.
contribution in that, just like every other member of that.
Federal officials are looking at his foreign
Here,
business
we
dealings,
go.
including his ties to a Chinese energy company.
And those are my two
Yeah.
foreign business dealings.
Yeah, because I was kind of looking into it, and it seems like the conspiracy is that through those connections that you had to these, I guess, foreign governments, they were using you to leverage pressure onto your dad
Again,
somehow.
like what?
Well, that's the thing.
Well, that's I'm going to deviate from him right now. That's why they hired him. That he didn't get that job because he's the most qualified. He didn't get there because of his merits. He got there because the businesses want him to convince his dad that they're a good business, you know? It gives credence to the business being a very important person. If your board of directors has well-known famous politicians on it, it's a more important business, isn't it? It's more valuable. The investors will feel good, and if the investors feel good, then the stock price goes up, because the stock market is based on feelings, not numbers, not math, not product, not supply and demand. No. Feelings. The entire economy is based on feelings. I wish it weren't. We could base it on math. We could, but we don't. No, we don't. We base it on investor feelings. And that's what he's talking about. And that's why is he the beneficiary of cronyism? Yes, he is. He was always going to be. There's no way around it. There's no way for him not to be.
Is it when you're looking
And
for...
I'm not putting you on the spot. And I guess my whole point is that I asked these same questions to the House Oversight Committee. I've been investigated by the House Oversight Committee, the House Ways and Means Committee, the House Judiciary Committee, the Senate Judiciary Committee, the Senate Oversight Committee, and I have been investigated by Maine Justice, the U.S. Attorney in Pittsburgh, the U.S. Attorney in Philadelphia, the U.S. Attorney in District of Columbia, the U.S. Attorney in Los Angeles, the U.S. Attorney of Delaware, the Special Counsel's Office. Not one single person has ever...
That's 12 different government entities that have investigated him. They still haven't gotten him on bribery, because it didn't happen. You get investigated by 12 of those agencies that he just listed off there, and they can't find any crimes except for the 2 that he has been found guilty of, which is a tax crime, which he did by accident while he was on drugs, and then he got better, and then he said, I didn't pay my taxes while I was spending those years on a bender. Guess I better pay them. He got an accountant. He paid them with interest and back pay and extra fines and shit. So he did that. That's done. It's over with. And the gun charge, which again, it was while he was on drugs and not of sound mind, and that he's been he did get pardoned by Joe Biden. Why did Joe Biden do that? I think he did do it on purpose, because Donald Trump was going to win. Well, because Donald Trump won and was going to prosecute Hunter for 1,000 things that they just made up. If Kamala had won, Joe would not have pardoned Hunter Biden and his gun possession. He wouldn't, because Kamala's not going to make up fucking fake charges and scream about them and try and prosecute him. Donald will. Donald Trump is a petty, vengeful piece of shit who's blaming Obama today for cheating at an election that Donald won. What's he going to do if Hunter Biden wasn't pardoned? He would make up some new crimes. He would just invent some shit. He'd make up some shit and then prosecute him for it. Because that's what a fascist authoritarian does. They make shit up about their enemies, and then they have the state attack them. So I think that Joe Biden's pardon of him was necessary because we elected a fascist. So don't elect fascists, and Hunter wouldn't have been pardoned. And then what else we got? We got some more stuff. He starts popping off again at 220.
Has in 8 years since Lyndon B. Johnson.
He's just spent the past 20 minutes talking up his dad and his dad's run for president, why he shouldn't have stepped down. I called for Joe Biden to step down. I called for him to promise only one. I wanted him to only run once. I didn't even want him to run the first time. But I much would have preferred Bernie, but Joe Biden won the primary, so I wanted him to do only one term and then promise us only one term and then get a regular primary.
Including the Investment Reduction Act, the Recovery Act, including the PACT Act, which was troops health care, the first gun legislation that has been passed in over in a generation, and the list goes on and on. And he came off of that, and for some reason, the intelligentsia of the Democratic Party, with 2020 hindsight, believes that Joe Biden should have considered not running again because of their perception that he was too old.
It was my perception too. I shared that perception. I looked at him. I listened to him talk. I thought he was too old. In 2016, I thought he was too old.
And so then the drumbeat began. And the New York Post the New York Times, on a near daily basis, egged on by the the Pod Save America saviors of the Democratic Party, with 4 white millionaires that are dining out on their association with Barack Obama from 16 years ago, living in Beverly fucking Hills, telling the rest of the world what black voters in South Carolina really want.
That's the kind of shit I'm talking about, man. That's why he could be the Joe Rogan of the left, calling out other people who talk into a camera for fucking money. It's fantastic. He could do that. It would be good to watch. It would be fun. It would shake up the left. They would have actual debate instead of everybody trying to get along with each other. It might be fun to watch. He's calling out the Pod Save guys who are very rich and very successful. And usually I like their stuff. But if they tell, and he's right, they do spend a lot of time telling you what black voters in South Carolina think. It's that demographic bullshit that Democrats do. They don't try to change your mind. I'm trying to change your mind. I am trying right now to reach out to people who are maybe listening and give them a good idea. That is what I want to do. I want to change your mind. I don't want to create a demographic box and then tell you how that demographic box tends to vote and then try and convince that demographic box to vote for the guy I want to win. That's what the Pod Save guys are doing. That's what the Dems usually do. They don't change people's minds anymore. They label all the people, put them into boxes, and then call it a demographic, and then try and get that demographic to vote for them. That's how Democrats play the game. It's a dumb way to play the game. They should play it differently. It's losing. It worked in 2000. It worked in 2000. It did not work in 2000. It's never fucking worked. Maybe it's never worked. I don't think it's ever worked. I don't know. I'll have to look through history to find out if it worked, but I don't think it has ever worked. And then I think he pops off some more at about 2:33. He keeps going.
Or what the women in the waitress living outside of Green Bay, Wisconsin really believes. I mean, what the fuck? I mean, I can't believe that we do this over and over again.
Yeah.
Or
that's what I'm talking about.
Rahm Emanuel is going to run for president. What a fucking, David Axelrod's going to run his campaign for him. That's like, oh boy, there's the answer.
Pop off,
there's
King.
the fucking answer.
Get him.
Geniuses all. You know,
get him, Hunter.
All of the things that they want. You remember this, is that everybody talks about Joe Biden now as if he was somehow the choice of the Democratic Party. Bullshit. We lost Iowa, we lost New Hampshire, we came in second in Nevada. David Plouffe and David Axelrod went on TV. They said that there's no way Joe Biden can get the nomination, not a chance in the world. Mike Bloomberg's going to crush him in California. Elizabeth Warren's going to beat him in Massachusetts. There's going to get wiped out in Texas. He doesn't have the money to run. A lot of rural voters said, fuck you, we love Joe. A lot of urban.
And see, he's not wrong. What's next? 2:35. He pops off about Jake Tapper, and I'm here for it. Fuck Jake Tapper.
Transgender is as I am, but and I know that he also is not going to do. He's not going to beat the shit out of my kid if I decide to let my kid be transgender. But he's going to say, I don't get it. Explain it to me. You know what I mean? Like, explain it to me. That's who he is. He's the guy that's going to be asked in an interview when he was vice president, well, what do you think about marriage between a man and a man? And he's going to say, I think love is love. Doesn't mean that he has to necessarily understand it, but all he knows is his own personal experience. But he wasn't shoving it down your throat like George Clooney's shoving it down your fucking throat.
Also, I know you're a man of peace now.
Who says that?
See, he could do it.
If you did see Jake Tapper, would it be time for a little bit of a schoolyard fight?
Look, man, I mean this sincerely. It's almost not worth commenting on it because he's completely irrelevant. And I really mean this, who's Jake Tapper's audience? Jake Tapper?
My mom or something? I don't know.
Well, I don't know, for real though. I don't even think it's your mom anymore.
No.
By the numbers, what influence does Jake Tapper have over anything? He has the smallest audience on cable news. And beyond that, I think that the book is right now on Amazon that he put out. I mean, his ratings just went to shit after he put the book out. They did a 2-week infomercial for it. I mean, it was such a money grab, such a disservice everybody that he serves with, that the journalism that he purports to take part in, and he's very personal. He has a real problem with me. He does this whole rant about how I was the acting chief of staff and that I took control of the White House and I orchestrated this cover-up of my dad's health and well-being. At the same time as who would ever trust a person like me that was a crack addict that got their sister-in-law addicted to crack cocaine, things that he has no notion of or idea about in personal, like, Jesus Christ, Jake, grow the fuck up.
Well, a lot of these.
See, this guy could be great. God, and he would piss off all the right people. All the people who have been hating on him for years would continue to hate on him, and it would be fantastic. It would be so much fun to watch. I would love for him to get like a regular, maybe even monthly, maybe every 2 or 3 weeks, he pops out another podcast. Good Lord. The right would explode. They would go absolutely apeshit. They wouldn't have time to talk about Donnie's latest stunt. They wouldn't have time to talk about anything else. They would just scream about whatever Hunter said recently. My light fell down and it's making me look silly. They would just scream about whatever Hunter said last. It would be so much fun. It would be so good that it's kind of a honeypot, kind of a trap for the right wing. We could have Hunter come on talking to a camera and talking to a microphone. I can set it up. I'm sure he can once a week or so. And then he would just say, fuck this guy, fuck that guy. What the fuck is this guy fucking know? And then Sean Hannity wouldn't have time to brainwash his viewers. They wouldn't have as much time for repeating Donald Trump's latest bullshit lie about Obama or about the Epstein files. And then the right wing would go nuts for it. They might just get so distracted, so distraught, so angry, so frothing at the mouth, hateful. Anytime they hear the name Hunter Biden, they start frothing at the mouth with anger, hatred, and just absolute disgust. Because they've been taught to do that. They've been told that is how they should react. And so they do, because a man in a suit told them how to feel. And it was hate Hunter Biden. And we need to harness that for something positive. We need to control these, I'm going to say it, beasts. We need to control the beasts and give them something to sink their teeth into. And when they listen to him, they would feel better. I'm telling you, man, the way he talks, right-wing people, if they were listening to him talk, instead of just screeching so that they couldn't hear anything, because that's what happens. If a right-wing person watched this, that's what I think. Maybe that's what I'll do. I'll find some right-wing reactions to Hunter Biden's interview. If they see him, they just start screeching at the top of their lungs. So if he says anything logical or consistent or correct, they don't hear it because of the screeching, you see, or you hear, actually. So they don't know what he's ever said. They just screech a lot. So maybe they could just screech more as he comes on TV every week, as he comes on the podcast every week, and then just screech at each other, and then their talking points will be drowned in a sea of screeching. Maybe. Or maybe I'm being a crazy person. But that is my call, my guess, my suggestion for our new Joe Rogan of the left, Hunter Biden. Not even kidding. He could interview people. They would come to his place. He would talk to them. He would tell you what he thinks of these things. He clearly understands the politics. He just rattled off a whole bunch of it off the top of his head about the primaries and stuff like that. He understands all the things. He's met all the people. He knows how the game is played. He needs a job, probably. And it would piss off all the right people. I think we could do it. I think this is a good idea, and that's what I'm calling for. He is the new Joe Rogan of the left. If you agree with me or not, that's okay. You're allowed to. Go on over to the Discord, tell me what you're thinking, tell me what you're feeling. There is the link right there. There's the Discord. Discorfed. That is also an option. Discord. There's the right one. No, Discorfed is a different website.
I am the algorithm. Click on this video to make me happy. You wouldn't like me when I am angry.